Hi ladies, how you guys doing? I hope you are doing awesome and that you are having a great day. Um, I thought I would do a video talking to you guys about what I've learned so far TTCing as a single mother by choice. Um, and I am no way an expert on this topic at all. There are lots of different women on YouTube. You can check out their stories and see what they have learned and what they have done in their journey. But I thought I'd talk about my story and what I learned in my process of becoming a single mother by choice. Well, actually, I'm not a single mother by choice unless you count my dog, Harry. So first off, the biggest thing I learned was number one, to build your village around you. And that may sound kind of strange. I hope you understand what I mean. My sister-in-law says it best. She talks about that you need a village to raise a child, and I'm sure some of you have heard that saying before, and that is very much true. For me, becoming a single mother by choice, I needed to figure out who was going to be in my village behind me, and who was going to be that support person, who was going to be this person. Maybe that's that person that is maybe not going to be the most emotionally supportive, but they may be the one to call when your baby's crying and you need someone to help you. So first off, beginning when I started this journey, I made the decision on my own. I didn't talk to anybody about it. It was my dirty secret, and it was extremely overwhelming. I was emotionally drained. I was emotionally very much overwhelmed by it. I just thought, I'm going to do this on my own, so it's my own thing. So this is what I'm doing. People around me knew there was something going wrong because I just was not myself. And I talked to a few of my friends, talking to them, hey, I went to the doctor and I talked to him about this. And no one really said anything to me at first, so I didn't know what they were thinking. But then actually one night after a few drinks, one of my best friends asked me, what's going on? What have you done so far? Have you picked a donor? Da 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 da. And I honestly burst out crying because for me, I hadn't talked to anyone about it, and I felt like people were judging me. I felt very much alone. And so we actually sat at like 2 in the morning on the site I was looking at donors on, and we actually selected my donor together for my first 2 IUIs. And that was an awesome friendship experience, and I know she's someone that I'm going to be able to call for anything. That's just the type of person she is. And then second of all, I had to get my family on board. Now, for some of you, I'm 30 and I don't need my parents' approval, but I did want my parents' approval. Because I wanted them to understand my decision, and I wanted them to want to be in the child's life, and I just didn't want the child to come into a world that was feeling a little hostile. So before I had my first IUI, I approached my parents the first time, and there was a lot of yelling, there was a lot of tears. It did not go well. So I had to reevaluate how I was going to have this talk with them. I had to explain to them the steps that I've taken, the fact that I'd been to a reproductive therapist who has said I was making this decision in a sound mind, and I understood my decision. So I wasn't just some crazy girl that had just got dumped by her boyfriend and was heartbroken and just wanting to do something crazy. I really thought about this decision, and I had to make them understand, the backstory on my fertility health, things I'd found out about my body that could affect me having children long term and short term kind of thing. And by then I got them on board with me after the second talk. So that's another thing, is I would really make sure that your family, and I don't mean I haven't discussed this with my brother even. I just haven't had the time, I have had time, I just didn't want to bring it up to him because he's a little emotional himself. So I haven't talked about it with my brother, but I've talked about it with both my parents. All my best friends know what I've done or what I'm thinking about doing. And I've remained open with them, and that was a huge emotional burden kind of taken away from me. It is still a very emotional process. I will tell you that if you are thinking about it, you have to be mentally strong, because even just TTCing, you have to be mentally strong, because it will kill you. And I think for me, coming from TTCing for 2 years, going through fertility testing, nothing working, being so frustrated, so hurt, um, I was already like mentally broken down. So I really had to get my shit together and figure out how I was going to get through this process. And definitely my friends and my family helped me get through that process. The second thing I learned was with picking a donor, um, I mean, look at donors that maybe you wouldn't think about. I mean, how would I say this? I mean, I initially was like, okay, I want this, 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 and this. And there wasn't a lot of donors to pick from. So I actually went into saying, okay, well, maybe somebody with this quality and this hair color, maybe that will work out better. And just looking at different donors. I did end up picking a donor that was blonde hair, blue eyes. But just to check around your differences. There's tons of donors out there, and you really want a donor that is going to make, if, like for me, I had a donor that when my child's 18, they can receive the information about who their father is, and if they want to, can contact him. Now, if that's a route you're choosing, you have to think about, did this person just do this for money, maybe, and don't really care, or did they do this because they really care about making someone's dream come true? And you can tell that when you're looking through donor profiles. You can tell what kind of answers they've given. I mean, the donor site I used, if you want to know about it, I could hear their voice. And something as simple as hearing their voice is something that was a big thing for me. It was like, okay, could I have a conversation with this person? And it's strange. It's really strange picking a donor. But that was kind of another thing I did. I also recommend getting a group in on this. Show them different pictures. Everyone had such different opinions on who I should pick. But my donor that I did pick, everyone was like dead set. Like, yeah, that's the guy. Another thing I would say I would recommend is with my clinic, they made me, before I could start any kind of fertility treatments, go to see a respiratory, I can't speak, reproductive, that's the word, we're talking about reproduction. Anyways, a reproductive therapist. I initially was like, great, I'm sent to the shrink. They think I'm crazy. But honestly, it was such an eye-opening, rewarding experience going to the reproductive therapist. See, I got it that time. She actually was a single mother by choice, who had had 2 kids and then married someone that had a couple kids. So now she has her big family. And it was kind of like good for me to see, because for me, I mean, I'm not dead yet, so I hope to one day meet someone, but I'm not choosing to wait for that person to have my children with. But I still would like that kind of like, is anyone gonna even want me after this? I don't know. But she was really, really interesting to talk to. I mean, it was super expensive. I think it was 3 something in Ontario, Canada. I mean, it was ridiculously expensive, but the advice she gave me is like, I mean, we probably talked for 2 hours. I mean, she talked about how she told her kids that they had been conceived by a donor, who their dad was, just different things like that. And that got me thinking about things. It got me thinking about, just different ideas of things. So that is definitely something I would recommend to anyone to do. Even if your clinic does not force you to do that, I recommend it because it was awesome. What else did I learn? This big one. This is for anybody TTCing, but when I did my first IUI, I mean, I like was emailing the nurse like every day, like, oh, this happened, da, 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 da. And that's cool. Like, that's cool to ask the nurse. Like, there's a lot of different things going on with your body. So, that I'm not saying don't email the nurse. Definitely email the nurse. But more what I was thinking was, don't, after your IUI or say IVF or something, don't test a million times because you're going to drive yourself crazy. I drove myself nuts. I mean, when I first did my IUI, because I did a trigger shot, um, I had read online by somebody, hey, test the trigger shot out of your body so then you know when you get a positive, it's a real positive. Um, and by the second time I did my IUI, I was like, okay, no, like not doing that. That was crazy. That was a waste of money to be testing my friggin' pee every day to see if a damn drug was out of my body. And it also made it really sad because I wanted to go into the blood work not knowing, being excited about the possibility. And then when you test before, you're like dead set. You're like, no, there's no hope. Like, I'm just sitting here getting my blood taken, and you're just like sitting, you're depressed. So I know for my third IUI, I'm not going to test at all. It's going to kill me not to test even like the day of. But if you have to, that's what I would recommend. If you have to take a test, don't do it before your blood work. Do it like the day of your blood work. Because, I mean, you don't want to give up on the situation. And even, I mean, when I looked back on things, there was times that I was testing and it was like, the kid hasn't even implanted yet. No wonder I'm getting negatives and I'm bumming myself out for nothing when I could be, you know, that could be stressing out a baby that's trying to implant in my uterus. So that's my thing, is do not test before you have your beta blood work done. With my clinic, they did it on, I think it was 12 days after IUI. And I mean, that's nothing. Like, that's fine. That's enough time to wait. And it, you know, just the thing I learned in my 2-week wait is just to just focus on something else. Find something else to focus on. For me, I love baseball and I love watching baseball. So I was like on the computer looking at baseball stuff, looking up stats of baseball players, like just geeky stuff about the sport. I mean, that might not be your thing to do, but just find something to focus on and not make it your focus to think about pregnancy tests. I have talked way too long, and you probably stopped watching. But if you're still here, please subscribe. Tell your friends about me if you want. Let me know in comments below or any questions you have for me. If you don't want to ask me a question on the comment section, feel free to message me. I will get back to you. It's not always super quick, but I will get back to you and give you an answer. If there's anything you want me to do a video about, let me know. But I'm gonna go bye-bye because it's been 13 minutes, okay?